Welcome to the deep dive. We take your sources, we dig through them, and we pull out the key nuggets of knowledge for you, helping you get informed fast.
And today, we're diving into, well, home, the place we spend so much time. We're looking at how to make your space feel better, more comfortable, more functional, and honestly, just calmer.
Yeah, we've got insights from a few different places you sent over. There are articles on common living room layout mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
some really detailed guides on decluttering, which can feel huge,
Oh, definitely.
and even a pretty fascinating look at how parents, with kids, actually manage to keep things clean, or try to.
Right, and our mission here isn't just to list off tips. We want to dig into the why behind them, the principles from these sources, and give you some solid practical takeaways, maybe a few aha moments.
All right, let's jump into that first big piece, the living room layout. The sources really suggest there's a science to it,
Yeah.
a formula.
Yeah, almost. It's about arranging furniture so the room feels good, feels welcoming, and apparently there are some really common mistakes designers see all the time that make a space feel, well, uncomfortable.
Okay, what's the big one?
Well, one designer called it a cardinal sin, which sounds dramatic, but it's pushing all your furniture right up against the walls.
Oh, see, I feel like that's instinct, right? To make the room look bigger.
It totally feels like it should work. But the sources explain it actually does the opposite for the feel of the room. It makes it seem cold, a bit disconnected.
That's so.
You end up with this big empty space in the middle, and the seating is too far apart. It doesn't encourage conversation, feels less inviting.
So the fix is pull it inwards.
Exactly. Pull the furniture towards the middle, even just a foot or two sometimes. It creates these natural conversation areas.
Okay.
Makes it feel more intimate, warmer, more deliberate.
Got it. Okay, mistake number 2, the sofa. Putting it right in the main walkway.
Yeah, sofas are tricky. They're big. And you definitely don't want people walking right into the back of it when they come in. Circulation, how people move through the space is just crucial.
But what if, the only spot is with the back facing the door?
Okay, good question. The designers have a trick for that. Put a console table, a sofa table, behind it.
Oh, okay.
It acts like a little visual buffer, gives you a landing spot for keys or mail, and it kind of guides you around the sofa instead of making you feel blocked.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thinking about that flow.
Mhm.
What about weird leftover bits from renovations, like those awkward half walls?
Oh, yeah, the pony walls or half walls. The sources are pretty clear if you're constantly having to squeeze past them or they create these weird pinch points.
Like you get punched between furniture, as one source put it.
Exactly. And if that wall isn't actually holding anything up or providing useful storage, the advice is blunt. Cut it out and watch the room breathe.
So function first. If it's annoying, get rid of it.
Pretty much. If it hinders how you live, it's got to go.
Okay, another classic. Sofa too close to the TV. Especially with these giant screens mounted high up now.
Right, and this isn't just about looks, it's actual comfort. Too close, especially if the TV is high. You're literally craning your neck. It's just uncomfortable.
So is there a rule for distance?
There's a recommendation, yeah.
Yeah.
Place the back of the sofa about 2 times the diagonal width of the TV away from it.
2 times the width. Okay.
It's a good starting point, helps avoid that neck ache.
Good tip. What about the opposite problem? Not too close, but too much. Like lots of little furniture pieces.
Yeah, thinking more is more. Lots of little chairs, tiny tables, random ottomans.
Makes it look busy.
Exactly. Busy, kind of chaotic, not cozy. The sources argue it's much better to invest in fewer but well-proportioned, substantial pieces. Like, one good-sized sofa makes a bigger impact, feels more grounded than 3 little chairs scattered around.
Which brings us to scale. The sources kept calling this the most important thing.
It really is fundamental, and scale isn't just the room size, the square footage.
Right. It's about how things fit together.
Precisely. Everything needs to feel appropriately sized for the room and for the other furniture. You have to think about ceiling height, light, how pieces relate. You don't want a tiny coffee table with a massive sectional.
Or chairs that totally dwarf the sofa arms.
Exactly. It's visual harmony. One rule of thumb mention, the sofa is usually the tallest seating piece. End tables or sofa tables shouldn't be taller than the sofa arms or back. And the sofa height itself depends on comfort, yeah, but also the ceiling height.
Okay, and the coffee table size seems like a specific place this goes wrong, often.
It really does. It's often central, so if the scale is off, it's obvious. A big sectional needs a substantial coffee table to feel balanced. A tiny one looks lost.
Needs to fill the space but not block traffic.
Right. Fill it nicely, but still be easy to walk around.
And rugs. Skimpy rugs, making the room feel half-dressed.
Chuckles. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A rug is supposed to anchor the seating area, tie it all together. Too small, and the furniture looks like it's just floating.
Why do people do that? Cost.
Often cost, yeah, or just being unsure about the right size. But the principle is you need at least the front legs of all the main furniture pieces on the rug.
All the front legs, okay.
Ideally, it takes up most of the floor in that seating zone, leaving maybe a foot of bare floor around the edges. It defines the space.
What if you have a really big living room? Is the mistake just one big clump of furniture?
Yes, exactly. If you've got a large space, don't force everything into one area. The sources say create separate zones, spaces within spaces.
Like a main seating area and maybe a reading nook?
Yeah, or a little spot for 2 chairs. Use smaller furniture groupings to break it up. It adds warmth, interest, makes the big space feel more human scale and inviting. Helps with flow, too. You gotta think about how people actually move and gather.
Clever placement. Maybe multifunctional pieces.
Right. It helps even quirky spaces feel right at home.
And the last mistake, the opposite of too small. Oversized furniture.
Just as bad. Too big isn't just visually awkward. It actively messes up the room's function. It blocks flow, creates traffic jams.
Hard to walk around.
Definitely. Sectionals are often the culprit here. People overestimate how big they can go, trying to maximize seating. But sometimes a correctly sized sofa plus a couple of chairs works much better for both seating and movement.
Okay, that's a really helpful breakdown of layout principles. Let's shift gears now to something else that can feel huge, decluttering. We looked at several guides. First big question, is it actually worth the effort?
Based on these sources, absolutely, yes. And it's not just about having a tidy house. The mental and physical benefits are, like, really well documented.
Mental benefits, how so?
Well, a clutter-free home can actually improve symptoms of depression, anxiety, because visual clutter takes up brain processing power. Less clutter, less mental load. It promotes calm, focus.
That makes total sense. Less visual noise and practical benefits too, right? Easier days.
Totally. Streamlines your day, fewer decisions about where stuff is, you're not wasting energy searching. It can even feel like it boosts your energy.
So where does all this stuff even come from? It just creeps up on you.
It really does. Slowly, one thing at a time. Gifts, kids' school papers, those just-in-case things.
The just-in-case pile.
Exactly. And the sources do touch on the mental health side, maybe not full hoarding, but that behavior of finding it hard to let go, that's pretty common. Plus, we live in a consumer society. Trends change. Marketing tells us we need more. One source said we're almost brainwashed into accumulating belongings.
Wow. So who really needs to declutter them?
Honestly, pretty much everyone could benefit, but it's especially helpful during big life changes. Moving, definitely. Downsizing, absolutely.
Okay.
After losing someone, dealing with their things, or when blending households, trying to fit 2 sets of stuff together, those are key times.
But starting when you just feel buried in stuff, that seems like the hardest part.
It can feel completely overwhelming. The sources really stress setting a stopping point for each session, maybe just 30 minutes, or 1 drawer. And take breaks. It's definitely not a race. Slow progress is still progress. Avoid burnout.
What about actually getting started? Is there prep work?
Yeah, a sort of warm up. Gather supplies first so you don't have to stop later. You need like 3 boxes or bags, trash, donations, and an action basket.
Action basket, what's that for?
That's for things you find that belong somewhere else in the house, but you don't want to run off and put them away right then. You just toss them in the basket and deal with it all at the end of your session.
Ah, keeps you focused. Notice you didn't say a keep box.
Right. Initially, no keep box. The idea is you touch an item, you decide. Trash, donate, or action basket. Or if you know exactly where it goes and can put it there immediately, fine. Otherwise, it goes in one of the 3 boxes. Helps force decisions.
Okay, what else? Label maker. Music.
Label maker is optional, but can be helpful later. Try to use baskets or bins you already own first. Don't buy more clutter. Definitely grab a drink, put on a playlist, make it less of a chore.
When you're sorting, category versus location, that came up a lot.
Yes, the Marie Kondo method. Decluttering by category. So gather all your books from everywhere in the house, all your clothes, all your tools.
Why is that better than just doing one room?
Because you see the true volume of what you own in that category, it's often shocking. But it gives you real perspective to make better decisions about what you actually use and need, rather than just dealing with little pockets of stuff here and there.
Okay, seeing it all together makes sense now. The hard stuff. Sentimental
Ugh,
items.
yeah, always the toughest. The sources had a nice way of framing it. It's about honoring who we are in the now, remembering the past, but living in the present, not letting objects tether you. A gentle approach is key.
And still gather everything in that category. All the photos, all the letters.
Yes, definitely. Bring it all to one spot, see the context, then, and this is crucial, set boundaries before you start sorting. Decide. I'm keeping one shoebox of photos, or these keepsakes must fit on this one shelf.
Setting limits beforehand helps you choose the real favorites.
Exactly. It helps you focus on what's truly meaningful instead of feeling obligated to keep it all.
Any tricks for actually letting go when it feels hard?
Taking digital photos of things before you let them go, that can soothe the ache, as one source put it. You keep the memory, lose the physical object.
That's smart. What about gifts you feel guilty getting rid of?
The advice there is sell it or donate it so someone else can actually enjoy it. If you sell it, maybe use the money for an experience or something meaningful now that can help preserve the good feeling from the gift without the guilt of keeping something you don't use.
Okay, so you sorted, you have piles. What do you do with the stuff leaving?
Options. Donate is big. Charities, thrift stores, look for ones supporting local causes. Free cycle or buy nothing groups are great for giving things away directly in your community.
What about specific things? Books, old stuff.
Schools or libraries might take books, games, supplies. Museums or historical societies might be interested if something is genuinely old or significant.
And selling. They're worth the hassle.
Can be. Online marketplaces, eBay, Facebook Marketplace for everyday stuff or collector's items, consignment shops for clothes, furniture, estate sales if you have higher value antiques or art, and, the classic yard sale, or local flea markets.
Okay, and what can't be sold or donated?
Then you look at recycling or trash, and you absolutely need to check your local rules for what they accept.
Right. Recycling rules vary so much.
They really do. Look for special services, too. TerraCycle for hard-to-recycle things, textile recycling, electronics recycling is super important because of hazardous materials. Some places have furniture donation or recycling programs, too.
This whole process really hammers home that idea of every item needing a home.
That's the key to maintaining it. Everything you keep needs a designated spot. If you pick something up and think, oh, where does this live? That's a red flag. It either doesn't belong anymore, or you need to make space by getting rid of something else.
So decluttering isn't a one-and-done thing.
Definitely not. The sources all agree. It has to be a regular habit, maybe 10, 20 minutes a day, maybe a bigger session every couple of weeks or monthly. Just something to keep it manageable and stop that overwhelming feeling from creeping back in.
Okay, we've got the big ideas, layout, decluttering. But how does this look on the ground, like room by room? The sources had tons of specific tips, but maybe we can pull out some core principles that apply across different spaces.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. One huge principle that kept coming up was ruthless editing, being super honest about what you actually use and need right now.
Okay, ruthless editing. How does that apply in, say, the kitchen?
Kitchens collect so much. Editing there means clearing countertops down to maybe 3 to 5 essentials, just the absolute must-haves. Why? Visual calm.
Right, less stress when you walk in.
Exactly. And inside cabinets, same thing.
Yeah.
Empty them out, only put back what you use regularly. Be honest about those 5-year-old spices or the gadget you used once.
Okay, ruthlessly edit the kitchen. What about the bathroom? Same idea.
Totally. Bathrooms are clutter magnets, too. Edit the medicine cabinet, expired stuff, duplicates. Look at toiletries, toss the almost empty bottles you haven't touched in years. Linens. How many towels do you really need per person?
Good point. Maybe 2.
Probably. 2 bath towels, a few washcloths, a couple of hand towels, spares for guests, maybe old ones for pets or cleaning. Same for makeup. Keep what you love and use. Ditch the rest. Be honest.
Okay, editing is principle 1. What's another core idea?
Creating those homes we talked about, but also organizing by category within those homes, using dividers, containers.
How did that look in practice, like kitchen drawers?
Yeah. Instead of a jumble, use dividers. Utensils together, gadgets together, in cabinets, stack plates with plates, mugs with mugs. Makes finding and putting away so much easier. It reinforces the home.
And that applies in, like, the home office, too.
Absolutely. Clear the desk surface, only essentials. Inside drawers. Empty them, ditch the dried up pens and random stuff, then use organizers. Pens together, clips together, etc. Paperwork needs its own system files. Maybe a desktop sorter for mail. Another big principle. Maximize your space, especially vertical space.
Vertical space. Like shelves. or other tricks?
Shelves, yes, but also think. Closet. Slim hangers save a ton of space. Back of the door organizers for shoes, accessories. Under sinks in the bathroom or kitchen, use stackable bins or drawers. Label them.
Stackable bins under the sink? Smart.
And in the garage, vertical is huge. Slat wall systems, those panels with grooves, you can hang bikes, tools, everything, get it off the floor.
Flat walls. Okay, yeah. Good for bulky stuff. What's another principle?
Limiting surface clutter. Keeping flat surfaces clear makes a huge difference to how calm a room feels, especially shared spaces like the living room.
Which should be relaxing.
Right, so actively remove things that don't belong. Toys that wandered in, mail, dishes. Think about undecorating surfaces. Hang pictures instead of filling shelves and tables. Streamline pillows, blankets. Use storage furniture ottomans with storage. Baskets.
And wires. Wires are surface clutter too.
Definitely. Wrangle those TV and computer cords. Use ties, clips, run them behind furniture, under rugs, anything to hide them.
So it's less about memorizing tips for each room and more about applying these core ideas, editing, categorizing, using vertical space, clearing surfaces everywhere.
Exactly. If you understand the principles, you can apply them anywhere. It makes the advice much more flexible and useful in your own home.
Okay, we've talked ideal layouts, organized systems, the aspirational stuff, but let's get real. What happens when you throw kids into the equation? We looked at a Reddit discussion about how parents actually keep things clean with little ones around. Some funny stuff in there.
Yeah, this really brought it down to earth. One strategy that popped up again and again was setting clear boundaries, especially around food.
Like, food stays at the table. No wandering snacks.
Pretty much. Food at the table, maybe only water in spill-proof cups elsewhere. It's about containing the stickiest messes from the start. One person even mentioned using washable couch covers, just accepting spills will happen and having a system.
Smart. Another big theme seemed to be everyone pitches in.
Huge. The idea that chores aren't just one person's job. Everyone helps, even toddlers with small tasks, even partners who are tired from work. It builds responsibility, makes the load manageable. Some parents gamify chores or use rewards.
I liked the really simple one. Just get outside more.
Chuckles. Brilliant, right? Less time inside making messes. One parent remembered their mom always sending them outside after chores. They thought they were escaping more work, but the mom admitted later it was just to keep the kids and their mess out of the house.
Oh, that's great. There was also this idea, messy but not dirty.
Yes, that distinction seemed really important to many parents. Dirty, like food spills, stuff attracting pests, actual grime that's a no-go, often handled by those eating rules or cleaning the kitchen every night.
But messy.
Messy toys on the floor, laundry waiting to be folded that's more tolerated, especially in the kids' own rooms. It's finding that balance between hygiene and letting kids live, you know? Perfection isn't the goal.
What about staying motivated? It feels like a losing battle sometimes.
Oh, the motivation section was very relatable. The number one motivator. Visitors.
The pre-guest panic clean.
Exactly. Knowing someone's coming over creates that deadline. Some people even schedule regular visits just to force the issue or pretend inspections. And hiring help, even just monthly, was mentioned as a huge relief, a way to reset.
So external pressure works. But what about internal motivation? Daily habits.
That was probably the strongest theme from parents who felt more in control. Clean every single day, even just 15, 20 minutes. The idea of don't put it down, put it away.
Clean as you go.
Right. Clean up one activity before starting another. Clean the kitchen every night no matter what. Do laundry frequently so it doesn't pile up. Empty the dishwasher first thing. Make beds. Small, consistent habits stop things from getting overwhelming.
Okay, but what about the actual cleaning? Like vacuuming or mopping with kids underfoot?
Yeah.
The noise, the wet floors.
Yeah, the logistics. And there wasn't one single answer. Some parents just did it. Kids learned to cope with the vacuum noise or stay off wet floors. Others waited until naps or bedtime. It really depends on your kids and your routine.
Did technology help? Robot vacuums.
Yep. Robot vacuums got mentioned for daily maintenance, maybe running it in rooms the kids aren't in. Someone had a funny tip for kids scared of the vacuum. Put googly eyes on it, give it a name.
Chuckles. Make friends with the robot.
Right. And wireless vacuums were praised for being easier for quick spot cleans.
And the eternal struggle.
Oh.
Toys.
Oh, toys. Constant battle. Strategies included limiting how many toys are out at once, having a dedicated toy zone playroom, corner and enforcing boundaries, like literally a line on the floor toys couldn't cross.
Koi jail.
Basically. Rotating toys also keeps things fresh with a fewer items out. And the most controversial tip...
Let me guess.
Yeah.
The rake.
The lawn rake. One parent confessed to using a clean lawn rake to quickly sweep toys onto a playmat for cleanup, like 20 seconds flat.
Wow. Desperate times.
I guess so. But the overall takeaway from the parents was realism. It's a constant battle. Aim for lived in, not perfect. Find the system, the habits, the boundaries that work for your family to keep the overwhelm at bay.
So we've really covered a lot today. We went from the sort of science of living room layouts, making spaces feel right,
Foundations?
through the whole journey of decluttering, not just the how, but the why it
Right,
matters.
the deeper benefits.
And then landed right in the middle of everyday life, figuring out how to manage the mess, especially with kids involved.
And the common thread, really, whether it's moving a sofa, clearing a drawer, or tackling toys, is about making your space serve you right now. It's about reducing that background stress, finding more calm, and making home feel like, well,
Yeah.
home, a sanctuary, not another chore list.
So thinking about that, if decluttering is really about honoring who we are in the present, and keeping a home tidy isn't a one-off project, but this ongoing practice, what does that deep connection between our environment and our well-being suggest about the nature of self-care itself? Is it also something that's never really done but constantly needs tending?